back, everybody, to another episode of Murg Mayhem, where one take can cause mayhem. Hope everyone's having a good day. At the time of recording, it's almost 7:20. So it's a little late, but we're going to talk about what happened yesterday in the sports world. So we're going to start off with NBA. There were some games that happened last night, and just like the last episode, I'm only going to be talking about the games that happened that are going on with the playoff teams, because it's, in a way, right now, that's all we're gearing up towards for the playoffs. So we're going to start off with the Cavaliers and Grizzlies. Grizzlies not in playoff contention, but they do have a lot of promising stars. J.G. Jackson is one of them. I think he's 20. If not, he's 19. He's really young. He's a guy that the Memphis Grizzlies do need. I really think he should be the starting wing next year when Ja does come back. Not only does he bring three-point shooting, but he is long. He's, I think, about 6'9". He's a pretty big guy, pretty big kid. He scored 22 last night. Didn't really shoot the ball too great from three-point range. He shot about 20%. But he does have a lot of promise. This is his first year in the league too. So just doing this, he's only going to get better. Jake LaRavia, who they did get last year in the draft, scored 32, got 7 boards and a block and 2 steals as well. So he had his career night last night. Scottie Pippen Jr., who used to be with the Lakers, he ended up scoring 18, dishing out 6 assists and 2 steals. That's pretty much it of what happened. Memphis is just tanking for the draft at this point. Smart, Bane, Jackson, Jackson Jr., Jaren didn't play last night, and Brandon Clark still out with that foot, and Aldama. They had a lot of injuries. Even John Conchar didn't even play, so that just shows you how many people they did have. They had 8 guys last night, so it was going to be tough to play against Cleveland when Donovan Mitchell got 29, basically shot over 50% from the floor, 50% from 3. Garland had 16 and 9 assists. Mobley had 12 and 12, 3 steals and 4 blocks. He's going to be their dark horse X factor for the playoffs. And then Jared Allen had 16 and 10 and 3 blocks as well. So defensively in the backcourt, they're going to have to rely on those guys for sure. Max Strus, not a big part in this game, but he did score 8. And since he is a 3-point shooter specialist, he's able to stretch the floor out and make sure that the defense has to keep him honest while he's out there. And Karis LeVert scored 18 off the bench. He's going to have to do that if they want to go far in the playoffs. Niang, 4 points. He's just a guy that's going to stretch 4. And, Isaac Okoro, he scored 7, but he's there to also shoot threes, but defensive guy that they have. But yeah, I mean, they beat the Grizzlies 110-98. And then the other games that happened last night, as far as the playoff teams are concerned, Bucks meet the Magic. Giannis, speaking of the Bucks, good thing I brought this game up because I was not going to talk about it. It wasn't on my outline here, but Giannis is okay. He did get injured with a calf injury when he did play against the Celtics. The only thing is, with this calf injury, it is really, really close to the Achilles tendon. So this happened with Kevin Durant in 2019. So, I don't know how the Bucks are going to come back from this, to be honest. I do think that they should really be careful with how Giannis comes back from this, because Kevin Durant's a different type of player. Kevin Durant's more of the finesse, the scoring outside shooter. He doesn't really use his athleticism, vertical. He's not really a driver he's not really a slasher. And with Giannis being that type of archetype of player, slasher, bully ball, paint, post presence in the paint. Um, he's is if this hopefully the worst case scenario he tears his Achilles, but depending on how he comes back, if he does tear his Achilles, he's gonna have to basically be a Shaq type of player because the days of him running around and being able to run like a deer, no pun intended for the team he plays for, but if he does do that, he's going to turn into a Shaq like type of player to where he's the five and make sure he gets um, gains as much muscle as possible, basically like Dwight Howard. but yeah, if I don't really know what Milwaukee's going to do. They got 3 games left. Um, they're probably wanting to lose all 3, even though they didn't against the Magic last night. But they would play either Philly or I really do think Philly's going to get out of the play-in. Whoever the 7th seed will be, that's who they're going to play. And if they do play Philly, it's going to be a good game. But I really think Philly's going to advance in that series if they do play. But they did beat the Magic last night. The Thunder and Spurs, when Wembanyama didn't play, and everybody on OKC just went off and had a field day. Honestly, for at the end of the first quarter, it was 34-20. It was 34-11, 23-point lead. So we already knew that game was not going to happen. The Suns and Clippers played. The Suns did come back from that disappointing loss against the Clippers the other night. But this time, Harden, PG, Kawhi, and Russ didn't play. Basically, they're just going to let the no-name guys or the bench guys play. PJ Tucker had 10. Good for him. But, Durant, Beal, Booker did their thing. Booker had 37. Beal had 26, and Kevin Durant had 24. So when you have, Bones Highland, Amir Coffey, Terrence Mann looked like he only played 8 minutes and then left. Hopefully he's not injured at all, or maybe they just played him a few minutes just to get that game covered. I'm not really sure, but yeah, he got out of there fairly quickly. And Bones Highland, who hasn't really played any games for the Clippers all year, had his time to shine, and he ended up getting some buckets. He got 37, 15-29, over 50% shooting, 50% shooting from 3. That's the type of dynamic scorer that Bones Highland can be when he gets playing time. That's what he was with Denver. A guy that comes off the bench and gives you about a good 10 to 12 points. Unfortunately, he hasn't found his niche with the Clippers. Hopefully in the playoffs they do have him come off the bench for bench scoring because they're definitely going to need that in the playoffs. And then the last game we're going to really talk about is Minnesota and Denver. Minnesota and Denver and OKC are the top 3. It seems like this top seed, the number 1 seed, is basically who the MVP is going to go to. Seems like. I really don't like that, to be honest. I really think that the way that Anthony Edwards has kept Minnesota in the top 3 and not have them gone down in seeding, to me, I feel like that deserves the MVP because the Timberwolves were, I think, an 8th seed last year, and I think they were an 8th seed. They were in the bottom seeds because they played Memphis first, and that was 2 years ago. I don't really know where they were last year, Minnesota, but this year they brought in some new guys. I do know that Jalen McDaniels did get bigger as far as height wise. They got bigger. He got taller. They brought in TJ Warren, even though he hasn't really been a big impact on the court. He's just a veteran guy that can give advice to him. And then the addition of Monte Morris during the trade deadline was huge. And just I think Anthony Edwards brought a different attitude going into the season. Um, and I mean, you see it. I mean, last night they did end up losing to Denver, um, but Anthony Edwards 50% from the field, 25 points. Conley had 19, but really the there wasn't a lot of bench scoring. I know that their bench outscored um, Denver's by a small hair, but when you have Jokic who's getting 41 points, 11 boards, 7 assists, and Porter has 18, basically shooting 50% from three, and Jamal Murray with 20. Um, basically some of these assists. Um, I wasn't able to watch this game because I was working late again last night, but um, whoever has to play Denver has to limit the quote unquote easy assists. And what I mean by that is the cuts to the basket. Because Aaron Gordon gets a lot of his dunks and points from that. KCP does the same thing, even though he's more the spot up shooter in this group. Porter, in a way, Porter can make his own shot due to his ball handling and his height. I mean, he's 6'10", and no one can block that. It's just the IQ of Jokic, how he's able to manipulate the defender's eyes and the defender's movements too. But yeah, he scored 41. It was just a good game. You know, the Denver did have 10 more points in the paint, and I feel like that's also because Cat is not playing. He is expected to come play tomorrow on Friday. I wouldn't risk the fast return just because you're going to the playoffs anyway. You don't really need. The only reason why you'd want him to come back is to get the number one seed. But if you're Minnesota, you have to be smart with that, because if you lose him again, it's going to be another. I'm trying to think of it's going to be another Kevin Durant situation, because I don't want him to come back too quick when he didn't really need to, and have him rest and then not tear anything else. But even if you're Minnesota right now, if you lose the next two games, because the season does end on Sunday, if they lose the next two games, they're going to be the third seed no matter what. And if they are the third seed, they get to play New Orleans. If not, the two plays the seventh seed. And depending on who the seventh seed is, it could be Sacramento, which I think that that'll be an interesting series. If it's Phoenix, that's a different animal. Basically, it depends on who the seventh seed is. So really, if they play the third seed, they actually might be able to play New Orleans, and it might be a easier game, because defensively, I don't think the Pelicans are going to be able to stop Anthony Edwards and Karl-Anthony Towns if he comes back healthy. But that's where I'm heading to the playoffs over here. There are several games playing as we speak right now. Chicago is beating Detroit right now by 14 as of 7:33 right now. Boston and New York are at halftime. Boston is losing by New York by 21, but at the same time, they don't really need to play their starters right now, just because they are number one seed. They are 62-17. So, that doesn't really need to. It's just, if they did, they'd probably just play them just to keep them in rhythm and make sure that they're in tune for the playoffs. But yeah, that's basically what's going on in the NBA. And I really do hope that the play-in is interesting, because the way some of these games have been played out right now is kind of disappointing because of how many blowouts there are. But That's what the NBA is now. It's an offensive driven league, and it's going to be hard for everybody to, um, you know, try to stop try to stop people. But yeah, that is just an NBA week. Oh, speaking of one more thing, Trey Young is back. I just looked at it on the very end of my paper here. Trey Young is back. Unfortunately, DeJounte Murray is out, and um, Oneke Okongwu. I think that's his first name. I can't remember how you pronounce his first name, um, but Okongwu. He is now getting surgery. Unfortunately, he will be out for at least the next few weeks. He will be out for the next 4 weeks. So, yeah, and Onyeka Congo, I was right. But yeah, he will be gone for the next 4 weeks. So, unfortunately, he might miss the play-in and a little bit of the first round. Jalen Johnson has a grade 2 ankle sprain, so he might be gone for the play-in and a little bit of the first round as well. Um, DeJounte Murray is day-to-day. They're probably going to rest him since they are playoff bound, play berth bound. Yes, would it be awesome if they were to keep going and potentially get a higher seed? Yes, but you, like I said, you don't want to risk any injuries to any of your guys. So yeah, they should probably just rest their guys. And yeah, unfortunately, one of the players, Sadiq Bey, he did tear his ACL in March. So hopefully he comes back next year with a vengeance. And he's going to be a guy for Atlanta that is another offensive guy and a shot creator for himself. He was like that with Detroit before they traded him to Atlanta. But hopefully he comes back and puts Atlanta in a better position for the playoffs next year. Going into the MLB, lots of games happened yesterday, but like I said, I haven't chosen which team I'm going to cover yet since it is Thursday. So on Monday, I will be choosing one, or a Sunday night. Check the community posts. I'll say what team I'm going to be covering and the games that are going to be on TV. With my work schedule, I do work when they are playing. So I'll be watching play-by-plays if I can help out with that. But basically, baseball, you could just look at a stat sheet and basically assume what happened. So we're going to talk about the first game that everybody was watching, everybody wanted to talk about, everyone was hyped for, was the Baltimore Orioles Red Sox game last night. Don't know why that is here at all. There we go. Sorry about that again. But Jackson Holliday made his debut. Here is it's a little grainy, but this is his first RBI. I watched some of the highlights of this game. I guess it's frozen a little bit here, but there it is. Well, now we get good footage of it. I guarantee you it's going to be grainy if I brought it back. Yep, it's going to be grainy again. But he did get his first RBI of his MLB career. They did end up winning. Orioles did. They did end up winning 7-5. He did go 0 for 4. But I do think he was nervous. I mean, anybody making their debut would be nervous. He is playing in the top right now, bottom of the fifth. We will check that out after I discuss what happened in this game. Not a lot of home runs from both teams. Both of them had one, but Jordan Westburg has been one of the clutchest players, not only for the Orioles, but in the entire American League right now. It's insane how much production he is giving the Baltimore Orioles, hitting at the 8th spot. He did hit the go-ahead 2-run home run to get them to 7-5, and then Kimbrel was able to come in and pitch and get the save. As you see here, 2 Ks. He hasn't pitched in Fenway, I think, in the last 6 years. So this was his first game back in Fenway. Um, I mean, both teams hit the ball. Um, so this game was not a bad game to watch at all. Both teams, the Orioles, they and the Red Sox did strike out a little bit too much than they probably hoped, but at the same time, um, they had they had two really good pitchers. Cole Irvin is an underrated guy for in the American League. Um, ERA is not the greatest right now. Cutter Crawford. In MLB The Show, he normally gets a lot of commons and low bronzes, but right now, he's had a really good start to the year. As you know, even though it is early, I think this is his third or fourth start. Um, but 5 innings, 6 Ks. He did have some control issues with walks, but his ERA is doing phenomenal right now. Cole Irvin, same thing. He had a lot of walks, and they jumped on him early. Boston did, and then weren't able to get anything else after the first 5 innings or so. But at the same time, both pitchers didn't get got a no decision. A no decision, basically is you didn't win the game for him, but you didn't lose the game either. Um, so the person that did win the game is Mike Bauman. I clicked on that because I didn't know his name. And then Chris Martin. Chris Martin's a guy that has been in the league a long time, one of the better setup guys in the league, due to his repertoire of pitches and how he's able to manipulate the zone. And he's like 6'6" or so. He's a giant out there. But yeah, this game was really, really good. Good game to watch. Let's see what is going on here. Jackson Holliday is still 0 for in his major league career. He is playing second base. He plays shortstop in the minors, but I really do think where Baltimore is headed, Gunnar Henderson is going to be your shortstop. He's got a better arm, I feel like. Not only has he played in the major leagues, but Gunnar Henderson won Rookie of the Year too. So in a way, you kind of can't take your starting shortstop out of that role. Another game we're going to bring up is the Dodgers and Twins. Both teams. Twins are a little shaky right now. But it's early in the season. The Dodgers, best team in the NL West. I did watch this game a little bit, at least some of the highlights of it. The Dodgers are the Dodgers. I did watch some of the pitches. The reason why they won this game was Edward Julian, this dude right here. If I can, there we go. That was just right down the middle, center cut. I mean, that Bobby Miller, in a way, tries to get away with his velocity, and he does get away with it because you still have to hit the ball. That fastball was just center, down the middle, 98. If that was a sinker, it didn't move much. It moved late and didn't get that downward movement like he would. And then this is just power. It was a really good pitch by Vesia, but Edward Julian, from Auburn, by the way. In Auburn, he was a monster in the SEC in college baseball. That's an inside pitch, and he was able to muscle it out to left field. So that's just strength and power there. Just got lucky. But yeah, I mean, both teams hit the ball really well. They did strike out quite a bit too. But in a way, like, you can't really say that the Dodgers and Twins pitched bad. They pitched pretty well. Paddock, coming back from Tommy John and from the bullpen last year in the playoffs, 5 Ks is not too bad. And, Bobby Miller, he did give up that home run, but he's going to be a pitcher in the Dodgers system in the Dodgers rotation for many years to come. It's just going to be interesting when Bueller, Kershaw, if Tony Gonsolin comes back and Dustin May. So they have a lot of guys that they have right now at their disposal that they can figure out what to do with. But this game, like I said, it was a really really good game. Low scoring, so it wasn't going to be like 8-9. It just shows you how good some of these pitchers were that day yesterday. Um, but yeah, you can't go wrong with this game. Um, Baseball is kind of hard to find those games where it's not entertaining to watch, where the game is so hard as it is. It's gonna be terrible to find. It's gonna be hard to find games where it's like, oh, that was a blowout, yada yada yada. Um, Now there are teams that are like that. The Rockies are one. The Angels to a degree, to a degree. Like I said, they're pretty decent going in the first half, and then the second half they're terrible. I don't understand it. Nobody really understands it. Um, but the White Sox, how they're performing, that's what's going to happen with them. Speaking of the White Sox, Yohan Moncada is going to be gone. He is also injured. So, and I think Luis Robert is injured too. Um, so, and then I guess now Eloy Jimenez is gone. So, Chicago White Sox, they just got bad luck right now. They did play um, the Guardians last night. Guardians are going to be the number one contender for that division. They're both teams. Cleveland, very very good contact hitting team. Um, I feel like they do need some power hitters in this lineup. They did have at one point they did have Josh Bell, but he didn't bring the power side that he did with Miami last year going into the playoffs when he helped get him into the playoffs. I mean, J Ram is the best power hitter they have. Josh Naylor does hit for power, but he also hits for average as well. And Bo Naylor does. I won't say he hits for power, but he does hit the ball extremely hard. What and the reason why I wanted to bring this game up is uh, Tanner Bybee won the Rookie of the Year last year for the American League, or no, runner up. My bad, excuse me, runner up. And yeah, this game he did give up 5 in the first few innings, but he did punch out 2, and he's a guy that he can strike out 9 like he did earlier in the year, but he's going to be a guy that's going to mix the speeds, and he's going to be someone in the Guardians rotation like Tristan McKenzie for the next several years, just in case Shane Bieber leaves or gets traded. Who knows? But yeah, Chicago. Gavin Sheets, like you saw in the bottom right here, he did hit a home run. But that's basically Chicago is going to be hard to root for and hard to watch because there's nobody there to watch. Gavin Sheets and Andrew Vaughn are basically the guys that they have to market right now. Moncada is really cool to watch, Jimenez and Robert Jr., but they don't have the team like they did several years ago. But yeah, Bo Naylor and Josh Naylor, they're both brothers, obviously, and they both go yard in the same inning. So it's kind of cool to have brothers be on the same team and being able to do something like that. But yeah, the Rays and Angels. I wanted to bring this up. I want to bring this game up because I'm not going to really go into the stats really like these other few games. They did bring somebody, Soriano. Jose Soriano was a bullpen guy for them last year. So this was his first start. He did really, really well. There's a but coming, and the but is that he was able to, in the first inning, he gave up 3. And he threw wild pitches, and the hits that he had were small, dink infield hits. And two runners on one of the wild pitches came in, and the Matt Tice didn't see it, didn't see where the ball was, and two guys were able to run in and score, and then sac fly brought another one in. So it was unfortunate for the Angels. That's basically the Angels' luck right there every year. Mike Trout went 2 for 3. Brandon Drury did nothing. It's just the Angels are going to be the Angels. Basically, this game should not have been 4-2. The Angels should not have lost this game, but unfortunately they did. But yeah, the Angels need to fix that. Needs to get better pitching. I've said this, and everyone has said this for years. ESPN, MLB Network, everybody that follows baseball knows that they need better pitching. Dylan Cease made his debut at in San Diego at Petco Park. I'm pretty sure that's where they play. Yep. Okay, I just want to make sure. But yeah, he pitched very well. One of the big free agents, soon to be in the next upcoming years. He was traded from the White Sox. 6 innings, 7 Ks, only 2 hits, and that's 62% of his pitches were strikes. Kyle Hendricks is a really good pitcher, but now his career is basically done. He throws 88, barely touches 90. He's a guy that's going to be able to use his off speed. He does have a sinker, slider, curveball, changeup. That's all he has, and for him, he gave up 7 runs last night because he doesn't throw hard. About 5 to, let's just say, about 10 years ago, yeah, he was throwing probably 93, 94. But now everyone's throwing 100, and this is batting practice for everybody now. It's just because he relies on spin rate, and unfortunately, spin rate is way better if you throw harder. But, good game for the Padres, too. Profar hit a homer. Jake Cronenworth hit one. When everybody is hitting and getting on base for San Diego, they're going to be a hard team to stop with Tatis, Bogarts, Cronenworth, Machado. Kim had a triple. And then I really do think Jackson Merrill is going to be an X factor for him this year. Somebody that hits left-handed very fast, and a really plus defender. And then Campusano, decent catcher. He's not going to really hit for power, but he's hitting 319 on the year. So this team needs to keep a watchful eye on, for sure, in the NL West. And Phillies and Cardinals. Yesterday it was a wish for Wednesday. I said I wish that the Cardinals would win. That did not happen at all. But I thought Lance Lynn was just going to get bent over, and he did not. He pitched 5 innings, 6 Ks, and only gave up a hit. So, I just think that these next several years with the Cardinals, unfortunately, we weren't able to win. We lost 4-3, and we didn't play bad. We had one bad inning. We had one bad inning that was going in the 6th. We were tied 2-2, and we just had one bad inning. And I just really think that these next several months before the trade deadline, we have to find pitching. We just do. We have to find a good start. We have to find a better starting rotation. At least one new guy that throws at least 96 and above. There's Lance Lynn and Miles Michaelis. Steven Matz. They're only going to get us so far. Sonny Gray is our hardest throwing starter right now, which is good in a way, but because he's younger. But at the same time, like we need to find one new starter, and our offense is a roller coaster. We're a really streaky team. We need to get better. I don't know if it's their approach thing or whatever, but I do know that Lars Nootbaar did not play. I think he's on the IL. Or maybe he got the day off. I'm not really sure. Dylan Carlson is injured, and Tommy Edman is injured. So we do have two switch hitters in there. Matt Carpenter is also injured as well, still with an oblique strain. But I'm not really sure what's going on with the Cardinals right now. Looks like Lars Nootbaar just got the day off because he didn't play. But yeah, Phillies were able to rally behind and rally up in the 6th inning going into the 9th, and we just weren't able to get it done, the Cardinals. But it is early. I just really hope that we can figure it out because the NL Central is way more competitive than I thought it was going to be this year already. The Cubs are 7-5. The Brewers are 8-3. The Pirates are just on fire right now. And St. Louis is at the bottom of the Central right now. So they got to figure that out. And speaking of the Brewers, Christian Yelich is having one of the best starts of his career right now. He's hitting .316. He's already got 5 homers. Last night they faced Hunter Green. He was hitless against Hunter Green, but was able to get that home run late in the game. But yeah, Christian Yelich, I'm glad he's gotten or at least the signs of him coming back to be that from that 2018 MVP. If it were me, he'd be on his way getting votes if I had a chance in it for MVP already. OPS over 1,000. Oh no, it was against Hunter Green. Yeah, it was against Hunter Green. It was in the 1st inning too. But yeah, it was in the 1st inning. Monster shot. Hopefully, I'm gonna rewind this for you. I just found it. But yeah, this is the pitch right here. Just a little hanging slider right over the middle. He is up on the plate though, so it was middle for him. But yeah, 1st inning started. You can see that right there, just barreled, and got it started for the Blue Crew, and we don't care about you, Seth Brown, unfortunately. You play with the A's, and you're not going to playoffs, and you all should stay in Oakland. But yeah, and the Reds weren't able to hit last night. They didn't really get any rallies going. Wade Miley pitched 4 innings, and unfortunately Hunter Green just left some pitches over the plate, and the Milwaukee made him pay. Churio, as of right now, is probably having early race of winning Rookie of the Year. He's hitting .282 right now. Willy Adames didn't really do great last night, but he's a plus defender. Rumors of him going to the Dodgers in a trade, but we don't know. And then Contreras is arguably the top 5 catcher, top 3 even. But yeah, and then the last game we're going to talk about is the Marlins, or at least not the game, but at least the Yankees themselves. Yankees didn't really hit well last night. At least the big guys. Aaron Judge went 0 for 4. Rizzo went 1 for 4. Torres went 0 for 2. He did get on base 2 times with walks, but he did strike out twice. Verdugo went 0 for 4. Trevino went 0 for 4. But one of the things that happened that kind of sucked for the Yankees was that in the third inning, the Marlins were already up 1-0, and as you can see here, hopefully it's not too grainy, but you know, as you can see where Trevino was trying to set up. Oh, let me see if I can do it again. Trevino is trying to set up out here, trying to see if he can throw that slider, which he did throw off the plate. Most likely to see if he is going to swing, because depending on what happened in the first pitch, it was probably a fastball or sinker that Stroman did throw. But since as you can see, this is Bally Sports, I don't have that. But yeah, they're trying to throw a slider to see if he'll chase it, and shocked that he was able to pull that. That pitch was basically outside, and he pulled it left center. Jake Berger is just a massive guy in general. I mean, you're going to see it again. I mean, I don't know how he's able to pull that on middle outside, but, slider hung over the plate. And, the only thing that happened last night was this, I guess we got to wait on this ad for 10 more seconds. But, like you see here, Stanton did hit a home run. He is playing way better than I thought he would in the opening year. Oh, now it's here. Fantastic. If I could just, there we go. Try to at least get him back in the game. Just fastball down the middle, and Stanton drove it to right field. I feel like he should go in the Hall of Fame just because of his power numbers. He is close to getting to 500, I think. I don't really know the specific number, but he is getting close to those 500 home runs. But he's hitting right now 250. It is early in the year, so I can't really, push the narrative of, oh my gosh, Stanton's coming back. But he is playing fairly well right now, and I'm excited because if he's playing well, the Yankees have a great chance to go to the playoffs and be the team that they've always wanted to be and always had the potential to be. If he is doing this 1 for 3 with a homer or getting on base, basically being another threat in the lineup with Soto and Judge hitting above in front of him. So. But yeah, that's all for MLB recap and MLB news. One of the things, with Throwback Thursday, I'm going to do what happened in sports, but we're also going to bring in the historical aspect as well. On April 11th, 1921, this was the first live broadcast sports event ever. The KDKA, I'm reading this is according to history.com. Johnny Ray and Johnny Dundee did the first Major League Baseball game on the radio. At the time, radio was very, very big because if you didn't have a TV, that's what you had. And the TV didn't come out till way later. But yeah, I mean, it just shows you from where we started in sports journalism on the radio to YouTube, Spotify, TV, and I'm just glad that these two guys and whoever didn't make I can't remember who did the radio, but they're the ones that were before us to pave the road for all of our platforms today. So may y'all rest in peace. And then Dundee also was inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame. So his impact on the sports world and on the broadcasting and his broadcasting career. Also, Apollo 13 April 11th, 1970. We launched that into the moon. It was one of our famous missions in space exploration. Phil Mickelson also won his first Masters in 2004 on this date, and um, and the only other that I think is kind of not really significant, but everybody probably knows is Bob Dylan, one of the best singers of all time. He played his first major gig in New York City in 1961. Um, so he is one of the best singers, best artists, um, not only in his genre but of all time as far as performers go as well. Um, so we're gonna do one last update to see if Jackson Holiday is getting. He is due up this inning. Um, so this it's 2-2 count right now. So we're unfortunately I thought he was going to be up, but I'm gonna give you an update tomorrow on the episode I'm gonna film tomorrow, and yeah. Thank you everybody for watching. Like, subscribe, comment down below if you like this episode. If you have anything that you'd like me to report on or give my thoughts on in the sports world, or if you want to help me find another segment for Wednesday. I think What If Wednesday could be a good one. I'm not really sure, but yeah, help me out if you want to. If not, I'll see you guys in the next episode, and I hope you all have a good one. Peace out, you guys.